Got into the worst fight with petty boyfriend and he wanted to make out after calling me a liar. So we were on a trip and having some problems with plannings and schedule. We had a lot of fights and trust issues before the trip. During the trip he was getting mad at me for changing my mind about the food I'm ordering or getting pissed at me for wanting chocolate, and when I dropped my phone by accident he sternly said, "I'm disappointed in you," to me in public, in front of everyone. After a very tiring trek we slept with the lights on so he could watch his show next to me while I'm sleeping. I didn't say anything. I wake up at 5 a.m. due to the lights and I see he is awake and talking and looking out the window. I tell him to switch off the light multiple times. He doesn't do it and comes back to sleep and tells me to switch it off since I'm awake now. I sorta yelled at him while half asleep. Then later when we were awake he straight up called me a liar, that I made up the situation to guilt trip. That the last few days I've been doing things to make him feel guilty on purpose by being upset or pissed. He was very detailed about all our fights being my fault. Like, yeah, I was pissed but so was he, and I thought those are just normal arguments you might have in a frustrating situation and get over it. Anyway, so he kept yelling at me after waking up and just saying mean things, but what hurt most is how untrue it was. I was happy about the trip and he kept yelling about every time I was upset or ignored him after a fight. It was to guilt trip him into an apology. He was really loud and didn't believe a single thing I said, that it's not true, and it freaked me out and I got teary and started silently crying, and it didn't make a difference to him. I have never cried during a fight. It was the week I introduced him to my parents, and that's a very big deal for my parents. I love them and it was emotional. He didn't trust me at all even after that. He kept yelling and I felt really hurt and powerless, and I hit him on his chest, and he hit me back. I cried that I don't want him to see my parents again, and he yelled back, "I don't want to meet your parents," and walked away. We didn't talk the whole day until at night after another hike he acted friendly like nothing happened and said sorry but in a weird happy way and wanted to make out. I wanted to sleep in with my friend that night and he didn't really ask if we're okay or if he's hurt or pissed, nothing. He was just being friendly and flirty so as to make out, and I started getting teary cause it freaked me out, and he just kept trying to be friendly and touchy, but I left and went to my friend. P.S. We had been dating 2 years and he's never friendly after a fight. He always wants to discuss and be very logical about why it's not his fault. I couldn't recognize him as the same person. Why would I make up situations? Like the whole time during the trip I didn't argue back or hold a grudge even once, cause it was special to me and I wanted to do things with him. I feel really gross somehow. I don't know why. I know I was wrong to hit him first, but he's really creepy, isn't he? Comment. All these things he's doing to you are things abusers do to their partners to keep them from being able to make logical decisions. He's gaslighting you so you won't trust your own judgment. His makeout session and happiness are his attempts at love bombing. That's trying to get you to think that he's not so bad. Really, you have good times together too. Him acting like nothing happened is additional gaslighting. The sleep deprivation is to impair your mental faculties. You kinda lucked out that he showed his true colors before you were engaged or married and before he had an opportunity to distance you from your parents. One thing you said struck a chord with me. He always wants to discuss and be very logical about why it's not his fault. The sentence starts great but ends up very badly. What you guys need to do is indeed sit down and quietly and logically discuss the situation. But instead of talking about why it's not his fault, you try to uncover the root of your bickering. It will probably be difficult to do because it can get emotional and accusatory, but you need to try. You need to be able to tell each other, when you do ABC, it makes me feel XYZ. Can you explain to me why you do ABC? Can we think about how to avoid ABC? You take turns telling it to each other, until you fully peel the onion and get to the core truth of this relationship and identify what's fueling your arguments. This is way easier said than done, trust me, I get it. But you need to stop focusing on the daily bickering and hone in on the core issues that fuel them. Next story 2. Am I asking for the bare minimum or am I pressuring my boyfriend? I have been dating my boyfriend for 5 years now. We have gone through a lot together but love each other nonetheless. His love language is physical touch, so like hugging, cuddling, head rubs etc. Mine is acts of service and receiving gifts. I don't like when people touch me, so I've had to really come out of my comfort zone to make sure I make him feel loved. It is something that we have discussed, and he openly admitted that without me hugging him back and or being affectionate when he is, it makes him feel rejected. So for the past 2 years, it's been a steady incline. He didn't start working until last year, so I've always had to stifle the need for wanting gifts and presents. So I made sure that whatever I want I got myself to fulfill my needs, but I also feel like my partner should be doing that. Again, I understand. He has not had a job, so I can't pressure that. He did end up getting a job, but he will sometimes buy me like a single lollipop or a small treat. I am and always will be forever grateful for anyone to make effort for me. The problem is I hate sweets. He's known this about me for forever. He teases me about this. When I asked him why he buys me the stuff knowing I don't like sweets, he said, "I know you're trying to lose weight, so I don't want to get you chips." That reasoning sounded legit, but once in a while, he also bring me a huge box of food, which is what I love getting, so I never understood that. Again, very happy for the effort, but it's something that rarely happens. I recently talked to him and I said, you don't have to be giving me $100 or anything. Even leaving $5 with me so I can go to the corner store and buy something I like is fine. I don't care what it is as long as it's not sweets and you're doing something for me. I said even if you don't have money, you just making something for me would be fine. I told him that in the future when we start making more money, that's when I'd like us to start going out more and doing all the other stuff I really want to do, but for now that will suffice. A pair of socks, some cheap earrings you thought I like, any kind of food except sweets. And it doesn't have to be everyday thing, I just want something. His response was okay, but also showing me his account details, so without saying it, he's basically saying I can't do that right now, stop pressuring me. I feel bad for bringing it up, but I also wonder if I'm asking for the bare minimum. P.S. I always buy him stuff. I'll always give him money when needed. Whenever I am shopping for myself online, I'd buy him something too. So it's not like I'm not giving him anything. Also, I cook for him. I cook for him at my house, I cook for him at his house, but mostly my house, and I help him clean. So it's not like I'm not doing anything. I'm also good if he makes popcorn, or some fried chicken and we sit and watch a movie. I just want something he doesn't have to spend a lot of money, and I said that he doesn't need to spend any money at all. Just do something for me. Comment. You could suggest he wakes you up with a cup of coffee? Makes you breakfast in bed? Gives you a massage? Your love languages don't overlap, so that is tough. If that is his go-to answer, you might not be compatible. I realize that sucks, but, if that is the case, it is what it is. Effort is always given to those any love, sometimes it is easier, sometimes not. Most people tend to choosing partners who naturally love them easily. I wish you and yours well. Next story 3. Married 5 years. Wife does not seem to appreciate my stress as being valid. Should I carry on as I am or challenge it? My wife and two have been together for about 5 years. We are both 34. We have 2 kids under 4 who are very hard work. My wife is great with the children. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom, which is a huge financial pressure. While I have a good day job, this would not be nearly enough to cover our bills and mortgage, so I have started multiple online business that after many years of trying are now successful. This allows her to take a full-time income and be a stay-at-home mom. While she does do a lot of the work involved, e.g. packing orders and responding to emails etc., the ultimate success or failure lands at my door in terms of the online advertising and ensuring it actually is making money. In my mind, my priority is keeping everything afloat, and I am up at 5 a.m. every day to ensure things keep ticking over. I put blood, sweat and tears into it, and I get stressed beyond measure when it's not working or sales are down. I know that being a stay-at-home mom is exceptionally hard, and there is no shortage of people who are of the opinion that it is a much harder job than going to work, which I do agree with. There are times when I need to focus on the business and not assist with putting the children to bed, because sometimes if things are not going well or we have a big problem, in my mind this must be the priority. However, my wife thinks that I am neglectful and does not seem to have any appreciation for anything outside of what she does with the children as being stressful. It feels as though she believes that I am intentionally not helping and that my problems and stress with work cannot possibly compare. It feels like she wants the old-fashioned lifestyle of being a stay-at-home mom but is not okay with the work involved from me, and all hell breaks loose when I am not able, for 1 or 2 nights ever so often, to help with putting the kids down. I feel that this is unreasonable and that there is little respect for me or what I am trying to do, everything for the family, to retain our lifestyle, etc. What should I do? Comment. I guess I don't see why it would be so hard to help out the kids to bed and then go back to work. I often have to go back to my home office when everyone goes to bed when I'm in the middle of a challenging project or have an issue at work. But I am present for dinner and bedtime and such. Your wife is doing double duty all day with childcare and the business. I get that you're working your ass off too. I think that the issue here is that because you are your own boss in this situation, she feels that you can make the decision as to what time things can be done, so if you don't help put the kids to bed, you are choosing not to. Can your wife help out at other times more in specific ways so that you have less pressure? Can you guys get a sitter 1 day a week? I understand what you mean by saying that it has to take priority and you are responsible financially for all 4 of you. Do you feel unappreciated?